These mechanisms protect the mind from feelings or thoughts that are too difficult to process by distorting, denying, or managing reality in some way. They help individuals reduce inner conflict and maintain psychological stability, although they may sometimes hinder emotional growth or self-awareness if overused or relied on too heavily.
Thank you. Okay, next person who was talking at the same time as Julie, if you can read the next ones.
That was me.
Okay.
Hang on a second. All right, so repression is the definition is consciously blocking unpleasant emotions, memories, or impulses. An example would be a person who experiences a traumatic accident has no memory of the event. Denial is the refusal to accept reality or facts, acting as if the event or feeling doesn't exist. An example is an alcoholic insists they don't have a drinking problem despite their clear evidence. And projection is attributing one's own unacceptable feelings or thoughts to someone else. An example is a person who is angry at their boss might accuse their coworker of being hostile.
Thanks, Nancy. I want to point out one thing that I should have done on these slides. I should have put suppression and repression together. They're very similar. So repression is where you don't remember the traumatic event, right? Suppression, which we'll get to in a minute, is where you remember it, but you purposely like block it away or stuff it down or don't want to come to terms with it or don't want to talk to it or address it. So they're both very similar. Make sure we know that.
I have a memory device for that.
Yeah, if
I know
you have tell us what it is, Nancy.
Gross, but I think of suppression like my stomach, and like when you don't feel good, you can vomit, so it comes back up. So stomach suppression, it can come back up.
Yeah, I like
you can
it.
recall it. I know it's weird, but it worked at the time.
And for those of you who are just starting studying, defense mechanisms are really important. Like I could be wrong, but everybody that takes the test says that they see defense mechanisms. I think one person said they didn't, but most people say they do. I had personally like 5 on my test. So make sure you're understanding these. And if anyone has questions, please feel free to speak up. Nancy's been studying a long time. We can help you answer questions or understand these concepts. Don't just be quiet, like we're here to learn, or put something in the chat. And if you have a question, no need to be shy. All right, next slide. Can somebody read the next ones?
Displacement, redirecting emotions from a dangerous object to a safer one. Example, after a difficult day at work, a person comes home and takes out their frustration on a family member. Regression, do I read all of it?
Sure, thank you.
Okay, regression. Reverting to behavior from an earlier stage of development when faced with stress. Example, an adult starts sucking their thumb or cuddling a childhood toy when anxious. And sublimation, channeling unacceptable impulses into socially acceptable or constructive activities. Example, a person with aggressive tendencies to become a professional athlete. A person with aggressive tendencies becomes a professional athlete.
Perfect. Okay, can someone else read the next slide? There's 20 of you on here, so somebody step it up.
I can.
Cool.
Reaction formation. Behaving in a way that is opposite to what one truly feels. Example, someone who feels insecure about their intelligence might act overly confident and arrogant. Rationalization. Justifying or explaining away behavior with logical, plausible reasons, even if they are not true. Example, a person who didn't get a promotion says they didn't want the additional responsibilities anyway. Intellectualization. Focusing on facts and logic to avoid dealing with uncomfortable emotions. Example, after a breakup, a person spends hours analyzing relationship statistics rather than addressing their feelings.
Awesome, thank you. Again, guys, if you have any questions, please speak up. I know that everyone's at totally different stages in their studying, so no worries. All right, can someone read this slide?
Undoing. Definition: attempting to undo an unacceptable thought or behavior by engaging in the opposite action. Example is after thinking something negative about a friend, a person goes out of their way to be overly kind to them. Identification. Definition: adopting the characteristics of someone else to cope with anxiety or fear. Example: a child who is bullied at school begins to bully others to feel more powerful. Compensation. Definition: focusing on strengths to counterbalance perceived weaknesses. Example: a person who feels insecure about their social skills excels in academic achievements.
Thank you, Cassie. A little fun fact about compensation. That one's going to be kind of related to Adler, his inferiority superiority complex that goes along with the compensation. All right, next volunteer, please read this slide.
Suppression. Definition: consciously choosing to delay or put aside uncomfortable thoughts or feelings to manage emotional strain. Unlike repression, which is conscious, suppression is intentional. Example: a student desires to put off worrying about an upcoming exam until they finish their current assignment. Fantasy. Definition: escaping from reality by creating imaginary scenarios to fulfill unmet desires or cope with stress. Example: a person who feels unappreciated at work daydreams about being in a high power, well-recognized position. Introjection. Definition: internalizing the beliefs or values of others, often unconsciously, to cope with external pressure. Example: a child adopts their parents' critical view of their behavior, leading them to be self-critical as an adult.
Perfect, thank you. To piggyback off of Nancy's little memory device, Nancy, were you saying that like you eat supper and you know the supper is there and you push it down? Is that what you were saying? I think it's
Like,
just not
yeah,
speaking.
like suppression, stomach, like it can be easily recalled. So we're
Yeah.
repressing the feeling, but we can recall it. Whereas repression, we can't recall it. It's unconscious. Well,
Right.
can't, but it's like super unconscious.
So make sure you guys, and I say this again, you know the difference between suppression and repression. The way that I remembered it when I was studying, and you guys know I have some crazy ass ways of remembering stuff. For me, suppression was like a superpower. Like you know that you have this trauma and you're pushing it down. It feels like it's not as much of a superpower if you don't even remember the trauma and you're just like pushing it. You don't even know you're pushing it down, right? But to like remember like this crazy horrific thing that happened to you and you're just pushing it down and ignoring it seems like a superpower. I don't know if that helps anyone, but you definitely need to know the difference. All right, moving along. Can someone read this one? These ones. These are a little bit different ones. I don't, anyways, read, well, I found them online, so we'll see if they might help somebody with some weird questions on the test. Can someone read these last ones, please?
Isolation of effects, separating emotions from thoughts or events to prevent the experience of overwhelming feelings. Example: someone talks about a traumatic event in a detached, unemotional manner as if it didn't affect them. Compartmentalization, keeping conflicting thoughts or feelings in separate mental compartments to avoid inner conflict. Example: a person who values honesty tells a lie but rationalizes it by telling themselves it was necessary in that specific situation. And altruism, dealing with emotional conflict by helping others, which provides personal satisfaction and mitigates stress. A person going through a tough time volunteers to help people in need, finding relief through this support.
This was the first time that I was like studying defense mechanisms that I found that one, and it just I don't know, guys, I liked it. Okay. Make sure we pay attention to this splitting. This is an important term. Can someone read these ones?
Splitting, definition, viewing people or situations in extreme, all or nothing terms, often as entirely good or entirely bad. Example, after a disagreement with a friend, a person suddenly sees them as completely untrustworthy, disregarding their positive qualities. Acting out, definition, expresses unconscious emotions or impulses through impulsive actions rather than dealing with feelings directly. Example, a teenager frustrated with their parents skips school as a way to express their anger.
Great, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna put this, I'm gonna try to not play the video because I just remembered that somebody else like has a Zoom right in like 12 minutes. So I'm gonna copy and paste. If y'all, especially new at studying, this is a good video. It's only 4 minutes long. I'm gonna put it in the chat if you want to copy and paste it. It just goes over the defense mechanisms again. Not all of them, but like 10 of them. One of the key things about studying, guys, is repetition, 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 repetition. So here, us talking on the Zoom, watch a video on it. But now we are going to do a quiz, and then there's another Zoom. Usually I take a little bit longer, but I want you guys to be able to make it to the next Zoom, which is starting in 11 minutes. So we can bust out these questions real quick. And then the next one is on assessments. I think someone had mentioned Heather is leading the next Zoom in 10 minutes. So we'll try to finish pretty quickly so you guys can go into that one. Okay, are we ready for the quiz? Let's see. Let me pull it up here. Okay, if y'all could either say it out loud or put it in the chat, and when I see quite a few answers, I'll let you know like what the correct answer is. Again, if you're new at studying, don't trip potato chip. You'll get it. It just takes repetition. If this is your first time attending a Zoom or your first time even studying, I guarantee you learned something that you didn't learn, that you didn't know before you hopped on. So congratulations to you. I will also be putting this quiz and the slides under the files. I always put my quizzes and slides under the files. So if you guys, if you joined late or whatever and you want to look at the Zoom, or excuse me, the PowerPoint and quiz yourself, it will be there. Just give me like a couple hours. Let's see where here we go. All right, can y'all see the screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, let's go. Number 1. Which defense mechanism involves blocking unpleasant feelings or thoughts from conscious awareness? A, denial, B, displacement, C, repression, or D, sublimation?
C.
Let me pull up the chat so I can see what y'all are saying. Good job, my little study angels. It is C. All right, next question. A teenager starts acting like a child and throws tantrums when they're stressed. This is an example of which defense mechanism? A, projection, B, regression, C, rationalization, or D, compensation?
B, regression.
Good job, you guys. All right, number 3. I can move bear with me while I navigate this screen. Okay. Which defense mechanism involves redirecting feelings towards a safer substitute target? A, projection, B, rationalization, C, displacement, or D, repression? Everybody's saying C.
Displacement.
So projection, remember guys, projection, let me actually tell you a funny story about projection, how I learned what projection was. Because somebody had answered projection. Guys, probably like 8 years ago when I was with this like super shitty excuse for a man, he would always like accuse me of cheating on him like over and over, and it like drove me crazy. And I literally Googled it and was like, why does my boyfriend keep accusing me of cheating on him? And I saw the term projection. So remember, projection is like almost like they have a guilty conscience and they're accusing you of what they're doing. That's projection. We're on 3, displacement. That's where we're placing our feelings towards a different target, right? Think of it that way, displacement. So yes, it is C. Somebody said A, but hopefully my little projection story helped you. All right, number 4. After losing a promotion, a person says they didn't really want it and that it would have been too much work. This illustrates which defense mechanism?
Rationalization.
Yes, good job. Everybody's getting it right. Good job, you guys. Make sure we know these, everybody. 5. What is it called when someone attributes their own unacceptable feelings to someone else? I was just talking about this.
Projection.
Yeah, so y'all can remember me in your head with my shitty boyfriend, ex-boyfriend. True story though. All right, good job, you guys. A person with aggressive impulses channels them into sports. This is an example of which defense mechanism? Let me scroll down. A, sublimation, B, suppression, C, denial, or D, acting out.
Sublimation.
Sublimation.
Yep. So remember, we're like substituting it for something else, like a healthy way of channeling our anger, right? Probably should deal with the anger at some point, but when someone, 7. When someone refuses to believe that a loved one has passed away, which defense mechanism are they using? A, intellectualization, B, repression, C, denial, or D, projection.
Denial.
I would say C, denial.
Yeah, technically this is one of those answers where it could be A, but we don't have enough information, right, for it to be A. Like, if the question said, you know, Susie's grandma died and she's online watching grief videos, calling people and explaining the situation, but never like dealing with her grief, that's intellectualization, like getting the facts about death, but not actually dealing with your like feelings and emotions. So with what we know, it would be C. All right, 8. Which defense mechanism involves focusing on logical reasoning to block out emotional stress? Well, I just gave this away, honestly, but anyways, A, rationalization, B, intellectualization, C, isolation of effect, or D, compensation. So yeah, B. So you're just focusing on like the facts and just maybe like over focusing on the facts and regarding the event and to do whatever you can to avoid stress. Good job, you guys. Okay, we got 6 more. 9. A person behaves in a way that is opposite to how they actually feel to cope with inner conflict. This is an example of A, reaction formation, B, rationalization, C, sublimation, or D, isolation of effect.
Reaction formation.
Let's see. I see a bunch of A's. You guys are solid today. Look at you. All right, all right.
This morning we went over a little session. We had a session with Sonata.
Yeah, so she told me, I didn't know your session was on defense mechanisms. I did that too. So y'all better be solid after these 2 sessions on defense mechanisms. It actually works good. Repetition, you guys. That's the key to everything. 10. Here we go, guys. Let's see who was paying attention. What is the primary difference between repression and suppression? Repression is conscious and suppression is unconscious. Repression is unconscious and suppression is conscious. C, suppression is more intense than repression, or D, there's no difference, they're the same.
B.
B, good job, everybody. Hopefully our little silly little memory things helped y'all. All right, 11. A person who fears failure at work becomes overly detail-oriented to prove their competence. Which defense mechanism is this? A, sublimation, B, displacement, C, compensation, D, denial.
Compensation.
Yep, we're overly compensating. That another example reminds me of like, I don't know, I think I heard it when I was studying somewhere, like a dad who's not a really good dad. Overcompensates by being like a corporate CEO, like he's super successful, he brings home a lot of money, but he doesn't know how to be a father because his father was never a father to him. So he just makes up for it by being this great like career person and like supplying his family with a bunch of money. All right, 12. When someone experiences stress and begins to have comforting fantasies about being in a better place, they are using which defense mechanism? A, regression, B, fantasy, C, sublimation, D, intellectualization.
Fantasy.
Good job, you guys. Good job. All right. Okay, a child adopts the view of an aggressive parent and begins to act in a similar manner. This is an example of A, identification, B, regression, C, projection, D, rationalization. I don't even know that I necessarily had that one on the slide. I think I forgot it, honestly. Yeah, it's A.
Identification.
Yep, that one is important. I don't think I had that one on the slide. I knew I was forgetting one. Okay, someone who is rude to a friend feels guilty and then goes out of their way to be excessively nice to that friend. This demonstrates which defense mechanism? A, undoing, B, suppression, C, regression, or D, acting out. Everybody's saying undoing. Good job, guys. Okay, last one. People think of their work colleagues as good or bad without any middle ground. Which defensive mechanism is this? A, displacement, B, splitting, C, reaction formation, or D, projection?
Splitting.
Yeah, that's a really important term. Just make sure you guys know the answer to that, or know what that is. I hadn't necessarily tied it with being a defense mechanism, but yes, it is. All right, that is all I have for you guys today. I'm gonna put this and the answer key in the files. What's her name? Heather, the Hawaii girl. She has a Zoom starting literally right now. So if you guys wanna hop off and hop on the other one. If anyone's new and has any questions about the group, I'll hang out for a few minutes to answer any questions or navigating the group or anything anyone needs. Otherwise, the rest of you guys are keep studying for the day. You might go ahead and go back, and Heather's Zoom is on the events calendar. She's doing assessments, practice questions. Oh, you're welcome, everybody. I love all of you so much. Y'all are gonna pass. Oh, hi, Quinn. I didn't even see you. Hi. Hi, Emma. Hi, Britt. I think I'm Brittany. Britton, is that your name? Okay, guys, if no one has any questions for me, I'm gonna leave. Y'all have a good day. Hi, how you doing, girl?
Hey,
You're
I'm in the
breaking up
car.
really-
That's why I was on mute.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're breaking up really bad, but I'm doing good. Hi. Hey, girl. Hey, I haven't seen you lately. I miss everybody. Your phone service is really bad because you keep freezing, but I love you. Hi, Britt. Hopefully you enjoyed the Zoom. If you need anything, you can reach out to me. There's another Zoom starting right now, actually.